He leads us all the way, playing proper football, the Sheffield United way. Ale, ale, ale. Ale, ale, ale. Ale, ale, ale.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and anybody else who is joining us here today. I'll be honest, I can't believe this is another match preview immediately. I'm going to immediately start with this comment because it sums it up perfectly for me. I have not got over what we saw on Sunday, and yet here we are going again, getting ready for the next game, getting ready for another match reaction, match preview, match everything, and it feels weird, if I'm being honest. I want to still be celebrating. I want to be talking about what we saw on Sunday, that absolute domination that we saw on Sunday. Basically, the United players turned up, went for a walk in Hillsborough Park, had a lovely morning, and in the end, could have scored 5, could have scored 6, probably the easiest 3 points. Not that we'll get this season, but that we'll get in just about any season that we will be looking back on. But we do have to look forward and we do have to get ready. Tomorrow night, we have got Portsmouth at Bramall Lane, and it is really, really important that yesterday doesn't become the highlight of our season. It is really important that that is the catalyst, that we kick on from here. That is the momentum builder where we not only get that victory, but we use it to propel ourselves up the division. We get another win tomorrow night, and we absolutely kick on from here. It's tomorrow, 7:45 kickoff, and I have to be honest, it's going to be absolutely freezing. So I don't think I'll be going shirt, short sleeves. I think there's going to be coats, there's going to be jumpers, there's going to be a lot of cope that's needed because it is going to be freezing at Bramall Lane tomorrow. But it's what we do for the club that we love. So what's the context? After that win on Sunday, we are still in the relegation zone. We still sit 22nd, but we are now within touching distance of the teams above us. Only 1 point behind Oxford United, just outside the relegation zone. But we're aiming a little bit higher than that. Let's be honest with ourselves. We're only 4 points above that cluster of teams above Swansea, but also Portsmouth, our opponents on tomorrow night. We need to chase them down. They returned to form this week and they've been on a really bad run, but they got their victory against Millwall, which sees them sat in 19th, just 4 points above us, as I said. So we will be closing that gap if we can get the win. Now, if you are still riding the high and you want to go back and you want to look at the weekend, please do go and check out our match reaction video and my player ratings video that went out yesterday. Every view helps. And so if you fancy it, give it a go. So let's jump into our team news. But before we do, let's give a shout out to one of our channel sponsors. This lineup is sponsored by Shazbat Designs. That is run by Sharon, who is a massive long-term Sheffield United way supporter. I've used Sharon myself. I've used her to commission special pieces for my friends who just really needed to pick me up. I thought it'd be a really nice treat for them around Christmas. We've had special Sheffield United way Christmas decorations that have come through and they all look fantastic. She is a self-employed pyrographer and she specializes in unique hand-burnt personalized wooden gifts, and no two pieces are ever the same. And I think that's what makes it really special. So do go to www.shazbatdesigns.co.uk where you can get a discount if you use the code SUW, or if you just send her a message and mention that you've got to her through the Sheffield United way. Now, in terms of this game, I think it's going to be interesting if we think about what happened on Sunday and what changes we could see, because we know that Wilder likes to make changes in 3-game weeks. Obviously, it's a quick turnaround Sunday, Wednesday, and then going again as the early kickoff on Saturday. That means he's probably going to want to make changes to keep us fit, but we played pretty well. You know, we dominated that game from start to finish. We've got players now who seem to have played themselves, hopefully, into a little bit of form through that performance. But there are others who came off the bench who maybe didn't do themselves any harm. It was nice to see Gustavo Harmer return. He only came off the bench in the 92nd minute, I think it was. So I wouldn't expect him straight into the first team, but it was great to see him getting minutes under his belt. Anybody who didn't manage to get tickets and who ended up watching on Sky will know for a fact, because they mentioned it about 15 times during the first half, that Ollie Arblaster is due back into the Sheffield United squad soon. They're expecting him in the next couple of weeks, maybe even in the next couple of games. So keep an eye out for him appearing on the bench. There has been suggestions that Tahith Chong may be getting back to fitness. Wilder himself in his press conference said that he is completing in full training now, so we may expect to see him on the bench as well. There's also bad news that comes alongside that. Tom Davis was nowhere to be seen on Sunday. It appears that he's potentially picked up another injury, which has seen him miss out altogether. Keep an eye out in case he is on the bench, but it's not one that I am expecting. In terms of where we may see those changes, I think Riedewald had a fantastic game. I thought he was outstanding against Wednesday on Sunday, but I did think in the second half he looked tired. I thought he looked as though he was struggling as we got through the end of that performance. I thought he was knackered, if we're being honest, by the end of the game, and therefore we may see him need to drop out of the game. Again, thinking about managing minutes, thinking about that 3-game week, we probably can't expect Riedewald to just go again and again and again. The other one who may have that similar situation is Danny Ings. Obviously got quite a lot of minutes under his belt now in the last couple of weeks. But again, can he go again and again in 3-game weeks? We've got good options now in terms of strikers coming off the bench. It may be that Ings has to take his turn on the bench and we see somebody else come in to start at centre forward. So with that in mind, I am going with Michael Cooper in goal, obviously, has to be. A back four of Femi Sirike, Japhet Tanganga, Ben Mee, and Sam McCallum. In the midfield too, I think Sidney Peck put in an improved performance against Wednesday at the weekend. So I think Sidney Peck will start. But as I said, and I've mentioned about Riedewald, I don't think he starts this one. So I think it's going to be Djibril Samari who comes in to play that role alongside Sidney Peck. And I would welcome that. I really do like what Samari has brought this season. I think Riedewald, after that performance on Sunday, has probably established himself as the first choice. But given the turnaround, as I say, we're going to need him away at Leicester on Saturday. I think this is the game for Samari to come in. In front of them, I don't think, as I said before, that Harmer is fit enough to come into this game. I don't think Harmer is going to be fit enough to start. So I think it will continue to be Callum O'Hare and Andre Brooks. Really like that relationship that Brooks has got down the right-hand side with Sirike. So it'll be great to see that continuing. Up front now, who do I think it's going to be? I think there's multiple options that we could go for here. But if he's fit enough, I think Patrick Bamford will start this game. I think he had a really impressive cameo off the bench against Wednesday. His touch looked outstanding. He was unlucky not to get himself a goal. The pass that he played for Tom Cannon was as good a pass as we've seen from any United player so far this season. I really do think that he's got something different to offer, and it'll be great if he is fit enough to play at least an hour, to get him up and running, to get him started, and to build that partnership that he can have with Tyrese Campbell. Campbell absolutely has to start this game. I've seen others' suggestions. I think it was in Danny Hall's Star article where he suggested resting Tyrese Campbell for this game, but that is not for me. I think Campbell has to start, and we have to try and build some momentum into his play. You know, he's had a really great breakout there, 2 goals against Wednesday. If he's fit enough, if we've not got any concerns, he's got to be allowed to go again. Hopefully, he will get more goals and really play himself into form. If any reason Campbell can't play, then I can't believe the words that are about to come out of my mouth. But I think I might give Tom Cannon a go, you know. I thought it was a much improved performance when he played against Coventry a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, he's got his goal now against Wednesday. Maybe we need to allow him to build some momentum. Maybe he's going to be feeling confident and maybe wanting to build into a little bit of form. I wouldn't start him, but I definitely think there should be some minutes for him off the bench. But let's see what you're saying in the comments. First up, we've got David Vinter, who wants to talk about Patrick Bamford. Absolutely that. I think you've got to start Bamford. I think he showed enough to us at the weekend. For me, it's all about fitness. If he is fit enough, if you can guarantee that you're going to get an hour out of him, then he's got to be the player that you go for. CAD SUFC definitely thinks that we have to go with 2 up front, and I think it's got to be 2 up front. I don't think you can change that now. We've done it quite a few times now in recent weeks, particularly against Coventry. I thought it made us so much better, and we've seen the improved performances since then. So hopefully we stick with it, because I do think it is the way forward. And David in again asking about how you get Gus into this side. And it's a really good question, but I mean, what a question to have. When you're down at the bottom of this division, any team in the Championship would kill to have the question mark over how do you get the most out of Gustavo Harmer? And I think it's a really nice problem to have. I think for me, you probably have to play him alongside O'Hare as 2 narrow wingers. It probably changes the formation of the team, and it does make it quite an interesting conundrum to resolve. I do think, though, as soon as he is properly match fit, he will come straight into the starting 11, and he will make us a better team as a result. Now, before we move into our opponents and our away team news, let me first give a shout out to our new channel sponsor. So Sheffield United Way is absolutely delighted that the IPM Group UK has become our latest channel sponsor. The IPM Group are South Yorkshire's experts in security, CCTV and facilities management. They help keep stadiums, businesses and events safe and make sure they're always running smoothly. Just a huge thank you from everybody at the Sheffield United Way for supporting the channel and for supporting the Blades. Do check them out at ipmgroupuk.com. So that brings us into our away team news. And obviously, Portsmouth had been on a rotten run before the international break. They had 6 games without a win, and they were missing some really key players. I think in particular, Adrian Segacic, one of their attacking players, had been out for quite an extended period of time, missed about a month, and that coincided with their absolute drop-off in terms of form. He returned, and of course, the victory returned. They beat Millwall 3-1 at the weekend, albeit that it was a Millwall team really struggling with injuries themselves. In terms of the way that Portsmouth line up, it's going to be a 4-2-3-1. We know that. That's been pretty consistent during John Mousinho's time with the club. And it'll look something like, and we'll use their starting 11 from the game at the weekend to give us a guide on what they're going to look like. So I think it'll be Nicholas Schmidt in goal, a back four of Terry Devlin, Josh Knight, Regan Poole. Just as an aside, anybody who played Football Manager around 2017, Regan Poole was the peak EFL defender to try and sign. Clearly, his career has not quite gone the way that Football Manager suggested it would, but he's not doing bad. Championship level, that's a pretty good effort. At left back, they will have Zach Swanson. In midfield, it's two, well, what do we refer to them as? They're not former United players. They're not United links. They're people who we maybe wanted to sign at one point. Andre Dazelle, many people will remember last summer, was on trial with the club and came really close to signing for United, but in the end, we didn't get that deal over the line. And then just over the last summer, Mark Kosnovsky was a player we were heavily linked with as we were going through all of our AI signings, and he has turned up at Portsmouth this summer and he's actually had a pretty good season for them so far. Starts most games in central midfield and has looked a really effective player. Probably a shame we couldn't get that one over the line. The 3 behind the striker, though, is where this Portsmouth team really comes to life. They have Florian Bianchini on the right. He's still finding his feet after his transfer over the summer. But then you have the 2 absolute danger men. I've already referenced Adrian Segacic. They look so much better than when he plays. He just makes them a better team. As a 21-year-old Australian, somebody who's got probably a really big future in front of him. So do keep an eye on him. Hopefully, this isn't the game for him. Let's just hope he has a shocker. He doesn't turn up. This isn't how it works. And then on the left wing, of course, Josh Murphy, probably one of the best players in the division on his day. I realise some people might think that sounds ridiculous. He's at Portsmouth. What are you talking about? But truly an outstanding winger. And on his day, as good as anybody that we're going to come up against. A really good player and somebody who we have to be really careful against. At Bramall Lane last season, I know we beat Portsmouth, but if anybody remembers that game, it was an absolute battle for us. It felt on the day as though we'd just been battered. Don't know quite how we came away with 3 points, if we're being honest. And so much of that came down to the movement of Josh Murphy on the left, but also to the man who I'm expecting to start up front, Colby Bishop. We just could not handle his physicality, and it's going to be a huge job for Tanganga, who I'm sure will have the job of being his man marker. If Tanganga can't get on top of him physically, it'll be a really difficult game for the Blades. So we've got to hope that we can get on top of that. So that brings us into referee chat. And I know everybody loves referee chat, so we'll spend loads of time on this one. The referee for this game is Lee Doughty. He has taken charge of 12 games so far this season, all in either the EFL or the Carabao Cup. So fortunately, we've not got one of these Premier League refs who do things like, oh, I don't know, watch a player get dragged to the ground in front of him off a corner and take the corner again. Weird. He's so far this season given 48 yellows, 2 reds, and given 6 penalties. That means he's given a penalty every other game, basically. 1 penalty in every 2 games that he's reffed. That's mad. I don't remember seeing stats like that for any referee before. So do keep an eye out for that. It could be one of those games. We have to just hope that if it is, it falls on our side. In terms of his record, when reffing United, he's reffed us 6 times in his career. We have won 4, drawn 1, and lost 1. So pretty good record. Let's hope it means something when it doesn't, but let's pretend that it does, and it's a good luck omen. That takes us into our score predictions, and do get your score predictions in the comments, and I will throw them up on screen once I've gone through our Patreon. And of course, if you want your score prediction fully shouting out and you want to be part of our Patreon group, please do go to patreon.com/Sheffield United Way. We love to have you. We love to hear the chat that goes on. And we just love talking about the Blades. So come and join us because it's a real good group to be part of. So what have we got? I was shocked by the positivity. Or maybe I wasn't shocked by the positivity. Because after what happened on Sunday, everybody is going to be riding a high. Everybody is going to be thinking, oh, I tell you what, I love the Blades right now. We're going to build on that momentum. We're going to be great again. And so most people are predicting not just that we will win, but that we will get a third clean sheet in a row. Now, if you've watched United for the first 15 games of this season, I don't think I would have ever predicted us to get one clean sheet, never mind 3 in a row. That is a sign that we are turning it around. Hopefully, the performances are getting a little bit better. Dylan started us off. He thinks it will be a 1-0 Blades win, and Ewan agrees with him on that. Steve B has gone for 2-0 to the Blades, and 7 of our Patreon members agreed with him. That included the gaffer Nick, Ian Benson, June, Kyle, James, Shaw. Everybody seemed to think that this would be a 2-0 home win. Neil Robertson, I don't think it's the Aussie snooker player. He's gone for a 3-0 victory, backing up what happened on Sunday. And Andy Bennett also agreed to say 3-0. And he thought the goal scorers would be Tyrese Campbell, Paddy Bamford, and Sidney Peck. He thinks that Sidney Peck will finally get the elusive first goal. I think that's a rogue prediction, but he's going to score at some point, right? In terms of others, Jono and MVP both thought we would concede a goal in this game, but they still thought we would win. They went 2-1 to the Blades. That is the Patreon group. What have we got in chat? Ian Sellers agrees with Jono and MVP. He thinks 2-1 goals from Campbell and O'Hare. That seems a lot more realistic to me than predicting it being Sidney Peck, I'll be honest. David Vinter, he's gone for 1-0. And yeah, I think this one's a tricky one for me. We've been overloaded with positivity. And I said right at the start, I think that win at the weekend is going to be the catalyst. And I'm going to say the catalyst 500 times in the next couple of weeks. So I hope you like it. If you don't, tell me in the comments and I'll stop doing it immediately. But yeah, I think it's going to be the catalyst. I think we're going to get a lot of momentum coming out of the back of that Derby Day victory. Not just a victory, but the biggest victory, the biggest away victory in the Sheffield Derby history. That's how big that result was at the weekend. And I think that can really see us kick on from here. We can really start to ride a wave of positivity. So I do think we will win this game. I don't think it'll be 3 clean sheets in a row. I'm going to go with Jono, with MVP, with Ian. I'm going to say 2-1 to United. If I was pushed on goal scorers, I'm going to go a little bit rogue. I'm going to say that we're going to get one off a corner at last. I think we've had the most corners in the division and still have only got that 1 goal away at Coventry. So I think we're going to get another goal off a corner. I'm going to say Japhet Tanganga is going to finally put one in the back of the net. And then Tyrese Campbell is going to get the second. That's my prediction for this one. Again, let me know what you've got in the comments. Let's focus on the positivity. And let's end with this comment right here. It doesn't matter what Pompey do. If we concentrate on our game, with the squad, we should be playoff contenders. So stick to what we can do, one game at a time, and see where it gets us. And that is exactly right. We have a great squad. We are perfectly built to get ourselves out of the mess that we have created. All we've got to do is continue to believe in what we're doing, believe in Sheffield United, and keep winning games of football. Let's use Sunday to drive us forward. Let's be a massive crowd to really celebrate that achievement. Let's get behind them, and let's let the celebration police get really annoyed at us when we go big and we go hard about another victory this week. I think we can do it. I think we'll win this game, and I can't wait to see you all there. Obviously, wrap up warm. It's going to be freezing, but then Blades are going to warm us right up. Yeah, got away from me a little bit, didn't it? Up the Blades.
Ole, ole, ole.